And I am Pika Pete.
Pretty excited to be kicking off the Shovel Knight Specter of Torment tournament. We've had this thing planned for quite a while now.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing some exciting runs from players of all skill level at this speed game. Tonight, I believe we will be seeing CnEY and applesauc.
Yep, they're already going. So I believe they both use the Bending Soul route, correct?
Yeah, I think they both do use the Bending Soul route.
Alright, here's a little bit about Specter's movement. He can jump and climb walls. He has a slightly shorter jump than Shovel Knight, and he can do a dash attack whenever he reaches a lantern or an enemy, but he has to be in the air to do that. You're going to see the runners collecting these red skulls, and they need those to unlock Specter's sub-weapons, which are called curios.
Yeah, the curios are the main focus of the run. They're usually the items that have the biggest time save.
Yeah, the runners are definitely going to be picking up Judgment Rush. That's the main staple of both of the routes, and they're going to need some gold. That's to unlock one of the armors later on. Plains is a fairly simple stage. We can start to see some of the runners' personal flair. Oh, very nice. Applesauc actually got the engaged skull in one jump, and I see them both going for the will skull, or the will wisp. So those are permanent health upgrades. They're found in certain stages, and I certainly don't blame them for having extra health. Spectre can be extremely lethal late game.
Yeah, that extra health upgrade can make the game significantly easier and significantly less dangerous, especially in a race situation.
Nice. They also both did some wall kicking. Spectre can quickly climb a wall and then jump off of it, which is faster than manually climbing the ladder.
Yeah, climbing a ladder is pretty slow, so any situation where the runner can skip that slow animation will be taken advantage of.
So we're coming up on Black Knight. Now, this guy has a fairly consistent stun lock. All the knights have a nice, easy stun lock on Black Knight. And Spectre is a little more spacing dependent. We'll see if anyone lets him get out. Well done by applesauc and CnEY. Now, CnEY has one less skull. He's definitely doing Skeletal Sentry, but applesauc picked up the extra one. I think he's going for Bending Soul. All the different weapons cost you a different amount of skulls, so they'll probably be doing a different level order as well.
Yeah, the different level order is going to make it slightly more difficult to tell who is ahead, but once we reach the ending stages of the game, it will become very clear.
Oh, that was a good safety strat. CnEY spent some of his money on Manny already, in case he should die in the flying machine. And because we can pick the stages in any order, we're going for the deadliest stage. It has the best weapon unlock afterwards, the Judgment Rush, and it also gives you 3,000 gold. CnEY made the smart move of depositing his money already. Now, the runners are also going to have to break a bunch of checkpoints to meet the gold requirement for the rail mail armor. But once you break it, it's not going to serve as a checkpoint anymore. It's just going to give you all the money, and then you're going to have to survive and not die if you can. And CnEY picking up the extra health and flying machine. You can purchase any wisps that you don't find in the stages, but if you don't feel like shelling out that extra cash, you can just go ahead and pick it up in the stage. Dingy dropper on applesauc. Good fight. He's a little tripped up. There we go. Nice. Ooh, and applesauc broke the second checkpoint as well. Good fight from CnEY. And in this stage, they're looking for some global cycles. There are some fans that are going to be blowing right after this auto-scroller. So if they manage to keep pace, then when they arrive in the room after the auto-scroller, they'll be able to jump immediately without having to wait for the fan to blow.
Now both runners are in the auto-scroller.
There's a good chance for them to get some money and kind of relax, maybe think about what they have to do. Applesauc is definitely going for all the big boy strats. He broke the 750 checkpoint.
And he did not make the fan cycle. He almost made it, but he did not.
He almost lost another one, too.
CnEY starting to catch up a little. Let's see if he makes the fan cycle.
Yeah, the way
he does not.
Will Applesauc go for the alternate? Ooh, he didn't quite make it. There's a couple ways you can get to the jellyfish room. Hopefully none of them is going to go for the heart attack way, but Applesauc is in the triple Jawa room, and these enemies really, really suck. They do a lot of damage, full hard-on body contact, and they can blow you into a pit very easily.
He opted not to break the checkpoint. Let's see if CnEY does. Nope, he opted to stay safe as well. This is a very scary room.
Coming up on the end of Flying Machine, Propeller Knight is fairly dangerous as a boss as well, not just the stage, but Propeller Knight deals a full heart of damage with all of his lunge attacks, and he's also very difficult to keep pinned down. If you continue to do bounce attacks, he'll just recoil like crazy and will waste a ton of time, so the runners want to stay grounded as often as they can for any fights. 9 hits, good stuff. And Propeller's starting to get away a little bit. Ooh, he's got away. Sneaky guy. There we go.
CnEY entering the propeller fight right now. He has a chance to make up some time on Applesauc.
CnEY's a little well, actually, he's not short on money. I forgot about that. He deposited some earlier. He should be fine.
Applesauc does not need to worry about money as much as CnEY does because they're doing different routes.
So Applesauc is already picking up Judgment Rush, and why don't you tell me what this thing does?
So Judgment Rush essentially allows you to teleport to and attack enemies the way that Applesauc is flying around the screen right now. And it allows you to essentially skip entire rooms, so it is definitely a valuable speed pickup.
And now he's paying Manny, waking him up, and he's going to purchase the rail mail. This armor allows you to grind around as if you were on the rails that appear in a couple of the stages. And yeah, he's going straight to Exploratorium. This is where we're going to see the split off. Applesauc needs the Bounding Soul weapon for the route that he's doing, so that unlocks after defeating Plague Knight. And CnEY is doing the Skeletal Sentry route, so he should be going to the Lich Yard next.
The Exploratorium is a slightly more dangerous stage than the Lich Yard, so Applesauc will have to be a bit more careful.
Now, because of the way that they're doing their routes, when CnEY gets to the Exploratorium, he'll have a much easier time because he'll have way more darkness. Applesauc has to do with just 2. He still has to break checkpoints because he still needs the money, and he doesn't have a weapon to fight with. He's just going to be using Rail Mail and Judgment Rush to carry him through.
I do not believe he made the first pot cycle, but he did make the second one, so that was pretty fast.
Yeah, he's actually doing pretty good. And CnEY in the Lich Yard, he's picking up the skulls that he needs now. Judgment Rush has a slightly weird targeting AI. It picks the enemy that's closest to you for the most part. There's some restrictions based on whether or not Specter can actually exist where it would throw him, or if Specter is on the exact same axis as the enemy. Yeah, the Lich Yard showing its infamous dark rooms. Quite a lot of fun there. He made it through without falling into any pits.
Applesauc currently battling the Alchemeister, which is far more challenging on his route than on the Skeletal Sentry route because you have to defeat it without any weapons, but he managed to kill it relatively fast.
Yeah, he's not doing bad at all. This room with the fire traps that Applesauce is in, those are also on a global cycle, so speed through the stage really catches up to you if you start to fall behind.
Ooh. You can see him doing a lot of damage boost strats on the fire because it's actually faster than waiting. He doesn't have to worry as much about health because of his extra pickup.
Kenny making great use of Judgment Rush, flying into the area with the skull and then flying straight back out. And he's on his way to the last couple rooms. And Applesauce doing the same, not having to deal with the water current puzzle in the last area. Just Judgment Rushing the rat so he can escape. So Plague Knight, quite a pain. He likes to teleport around a lot, and he can also make clones of himself. The real Plague Knight will have a blue flask equipped.
And Kenny entering the Phantom Striker fight, who you essentially have to just Judgment Rush at the beginning, and then stand there and get hit a lot, and while you hit him a lot in the Skeletal Sentry round.
Good fight from Applesauce, and yes, Kenny will have to fight without a weapon for the Phantom Striker. Phantom Striker likes to teleport around a lot and become invincible for long periods of time. He's using Judgment Rush very well to get in some extra damage. Judgment Rush deals a full heart of damage to anything it won't kill.
And Applesauce entering the first memory in which he plays as Donovan, who is Specter Knight's former self.
Good fight from Kenny on Phantom Striker, and yes, Applesauce is in the first memory now. So in these memory sequences, you're not going to have access to any of your weapons or armor, just your health upgrades and your mana. This is a good opportunity to pick up some extra cash. We'll see if any of them decide to go for any safety money.
I believe Kenny will be having to pick up the treasure chest at the end because of his route, and Applesauce will be skipping it.
Yeah, he did skip both of them. Kenny might even go for the 600 wall gold. We'll see. But now both of the players have completed 2 night stages, apart from the intro plains stage. You'll see that as a pattern. Whenever they complete a certain amount of stages, they'll get some type of intermission. Applesauce now has the Bounding Soul. This weapon fires at 45-degree angles, and you can only shoot 2 at a time right now, and they do not pierce, but there's an upgrade vendor that he'll be visiting later on. For now, he's going to have to go to the Lost City and make do without the upgrade.
Kenny did opt to get the 600 extra wall money and the treasure chest, so now he has quite a bit of gold exiting the first memory.
Yeah, Kenny's going to be picking up extra darkness throughout the stages. He's going to need that money to be purchasing all that mana upgrade per stage. Applesauce here, again, still low on darkness. Will have to do Lost City without as many uses of Judgment Rush. We'll see how he handles Beetle 1.
Very, very scary stage, even without breaking checkpoints.
Yeah, there's a lot of instant kills. The lava is literally everywhere.
Kenny is now in Tinker Knight stage, which most of the checkpoints are actually at either out of the way.
He went through. What a madman!
He really did. So Kenny in Tinker Knight stage, where a lot of the checkpoints are either out of the way or required to break for his route, the Skeletal Sentry route. So this is also a scary stage for him. Either runner could lose lots of time at any moment.
Ooh, Applesauce barely not dying there. This boy is giving me a heart attack.
He opted for an interesting Judgment Rush strat in that room when usually runners opt for just railing through it and attacking.
Maybe being very smart about his mana consumption. He knows that he needs Judgment Rush in this room, so he opted not to spend it in the previous room filled with those robotic dogs. And he is going for the safety checkpoint. Don't blame him. We just saw a very cool trick by Applesauce using the Bounding Soul. Very strangely, it can actually bounce the green slime orb without having to be on the other side of it. It actually, for some reason, it sends it the other way.
Kenny is now in the first auto-scroller of 2 in Tinker 1, and Applesauce is about to enter Beetle 2, which we will be seeing a very interesting skip with the Judgment Rush.
Yeah, Judgment Rush and Rail Mail really make the character fly through the stages. Without either of these items, it's just such a nightmare to make it through. And we're also taking a good look right now at the Judgment Rush Dry Rush stall effect. So if there's not an enemy on the screen when you Judgment Rush, you'll actually just stay in the air, which is great for killing your momentum. It basically allows you to climb walls infinitely.
Applesauce entering the Mole Knight fight, which he has to fight with the Bounding Soul with limited darkness.
All of his shots nailed it. Good stuff. And nice. Right before Mole Knight would hide away. Good stuff.
CnEY opting for the safety checkpoint. Very smart move.
Yeah, Kenny's still going to be in the Clockwork Tower for a while here. This stage is about twice as long as the rest of them. He is getting the hidden chest there for 750 gold. And he is going for the Azul Egg wheel bounce there.
Applesauce now upgrading his Bounding Soul, so now he can shoot 4 Bounding Souls, and they pass through enemies and bounce off of walls even faster.
Yeah, you can do what is known as dribbling by stacking a bunch of them in a corner with an enemy. You can get some massive damage on your opponents. But that's the reason why the Bounding Soul is such a more difficult weapon to use, as opposed to the Skeletal Sentry, which you can kind of set and forget. We're going to see what kind of kill Applesauce goes for on Reese.
CnEY nearing the end of the second Tinker Auto-Scroller, so he will be fighting Tinker Knight very soon.
Applesauce needs to finish off Reese quickly. If he gets away, it's going to lose him a lot more time. There we go. Yeah, Reese will start to... All the bosses have something like a desperation move. When they reach certain health points, they'll either disappear or use an ultimate form of attack, and Reese will disappear for a very long time.
Now CnEY is entering the Tinker Knight fight, which is a 2-phase fight. One where Tinker Knight has his gear, and the other where he has a giant mech. And normally this fight is treated as kind of a joke in the Shovel Knight campaign. It's supposed to be very easy, but it is not as easy in Specter Knight because he has his gear attack, which actually deals a full heart of damage. So it can be very scary if you don't have enough health.
Yeah, he can easily take a ton of damage. He had 6 hearts, right? And yeah, he lost 4 of them just trying to pummel his way through Tinker's face. But now he's in phase 2. And all the fights were really well redesigned around Specter's abilities. They're not nearly the same fight that they would have been. Ooh, making good use. Will he have enough dark? He does. He does have enough darkness. As you deal damage to bosses, you get a small bit of darkness back from them, and he did just get enough for that last rush, so he didn't fall down.
Very nice Tinker fight. Applesauce bonking his head there, trying to rail into the wall.
The bane of runners. This rail mail. Right, so Applesauce is not the traditional rail mail color because he's using a color code. The cheat codes do not actually affect gameplay whatsoever. They're just cosmetic, so he's never going to change color at all.
CnEY now buying the Skeletal Sentry weapon, which is vital to his run now. It absolutely shreds some of the bosses.
So Applesauce fighting the 420 fish, using the basketballs, hoping for some lucky ricochets. More shots. Ooh, he does. Oh no! Okay, he's. Oh my god! Applesauce, you're trying to give me a heart attack.
I thought he was going to need to save himself with a rush, but I don't think he had the mana to do it.
Meanwhile, CnEY, immediately after purchasing the Skeletal Sentry, went and upgraded it from Legion, and now he's fighting Reese with the Sentry instead.
Nice little skip with the Bounding Soul, using it to activate the missile from Applesauce.
And
Now he's
Applesauce.
entered the Bertha room.
Go ahead.
Bertha is a very scary enemy. She's actually unkillable, and she deals 2 full hearts of damage. So if Applesauce gets hit, he will lose over a third.
Oh no!
And he used Bertha to save himself, which was very, very nicely done.
Yeah, the player cannot kill Bertha without the use of the Dread Talon, which they're not going to be getting on this route, or if an anchor luckily hits Bertha. But if the anchor had killed Bertha any sooner, Applesauce would not have been able to have gotten a recoil dash attack off of her and survived.
He may have been able to stall his fall with the Judgment Rush and wait for an anchor to come back down, but that would have been very slow.
Oh, that would have been hella clutch too. And he's coming up on Treasure Knight. This is a great example of why Bounding Soul is such a fierce weapon. Those ricochets, and he's like, look at that, he only has 2 hearts left. Ooh, unfortunate that he killed Treasure Knight up in the air. When the bosses land is when the fanfare can actually begin. And Specter also has to be still on the ground. Without that, there's going to be a small time loss waiting for that to happen.
Kenny opting for an interesting Judgment Rush strat in the room with all those tentacles instead of going for the normal strat.
Yeah, by waiting for the manta rays to be in untargetable spots, Kenny got a Judgment Rush on the furthest manta ray without having to kill any of the tentacles. Now Applesauce is entering the Lich Yard, and Applesauce has 3 darkness and his upgraded weapon, so we're going to see not too many different strats throughout the stage, but certainly the boss is going to be much more different. And for the most part, Applesauce also won't have to deal with going out of his way for money or skulls.
Yeah, so Applesauce will be going through the level far faster than Kenny did.
Now Kenny is at the 420 fish, and the Skeletal Sentry has a much harder time doing a 1 cycle on 420. However, it is possible. There is an extremely difficult setup. Oh, we'll see if he gets it. He did set up the Sentry in the right spot. He has to get a Judgment Rush well-timed. Oh, he didn't Judgment Rush, so he did miss just that one last hit there.
He did get the hit with the Sentry, though, so he did save a bit of time with that.
Yeah, that was very good. And in this area that Applesauce is in right now, this is where Kenny had to double around to break the checkpoint and grab the skulls, but Applesauce just gets to go straight through.
Kenny opting for a more vanilla strat, actually going down to hit the missile switch with his scythe instead of using a Bounding Soul, because he obviously does not have them. And now he is entering the Bertha room. Very scary room.
Applesauce is in a pretty scary room too. Oh, Jesus.
He got hit, but he still got that apple, so he is at full health. They put ample healing items in that room because of the massive amount of damage that Bertha deals. Going for a Judgment Rush in that last room with the checkpoint, which I don't see very often.
We'll see how Applesauce handles the Phantom Striker. He actually did get all those hits in. Look at that, all that bouncing around in that tiny corner there. Took Phantom Striker down to half health, but I don't think he's gonna... Ooh, nope, not enough. You have to dribble the balls very appropriately to knock out Phantom Striker before one more teleport, but still, that was a very good fight. And we're gonna see why Skeletal Sentry is such a good weapon here. It does just about as much damage as the Bounding Soul, but the amount of time required to go and upgrade the Skeletal Sentry so that it's actually that useful is going to be the bigger time loss here for Kenny overall.
The Skeletal Sentry has a lot less uses than the Bounding Soul. The Bounding Soul has little strats and optimizations like the 420 fish kill and the bounce glitch in Lost City, where that the Skeletal Sentry does not. And we see Applesauce now in the second memory.
Not quite. That's a shame. So Luan does have a small chance to kind of like run ahead of you, but I guess he wasn't feeling up to it today. This is the second memory here, where Luan already gave him caltrops. Those are those small projectiles he's throwing out. He really doesn't want to throw more of them because he'll need them for the Shield Knight fight coming up.
Kenny now in the Lost City, which Applesauce did quite a while ago.
Yeah, because they're doing the stages out of order, and Kenny already did Clockwork Tower, it's really going to be hard to tell who's ahead for at least until we get to the final couple stages. Now, Shield Knight is undamageable from the front, so throwing caltrops for her to run over and finding a way to attack Shield Knight from behind are going to be key to getting Shield Knight out of the picture. Ooh, and Kenny just took a nasty spell to the lava, I believe.
Yeah, it was to the lava. Shield Knight can only be damaged from the front, but only when she's holding her shield. So when she tosses it like that, Applesauce can move in and hit her from the front like he just did.
Kenny still needs money for one more darkness upgrade, potentially, and if he wants to purchase the charge slash armor, then he'll also need to find a way to recover any gold that he loses.
Charge slash armor is almost a requirement for the Skeletal Sentry route because the Skeletal Sentry does not help very much for the final boss fight and with the Enchantress fight at the end.
So Applesauce now entering Clockwork Tower. We're going to see the time difference between the two kind of normalize a bit from here.
Kenny also opting for a Judgment Rush strat in the room with all of the horse mask people.
The Steve holders.
Steve holders, but they're not holding a Steve.
Right, they're Steveless holders. What a shame.
What did we call them before Specter of Torment? Because they didn't hold Steves
They just
until
didn't
this
have
game.
names. Applesauce.
Kenny had to use
Go ahead.
Kenny had to use a Judgment Rush strat where Applesauce normally would have just skipped that with a Bounding Soul to send the slime backwards.
That was pretty scary there. If you didn't kick that slime ball into the lantern, you wouldn't have had a way to have gotten out of that puzzle. Using rail mail to skip over the jump is pretty crucial. So it's a good thing he set himself up for success in case of that.
Applesauce now entering the first auto-scroller, and Kenny using the explosion of the Skeletal Sentry to break those slime blocks, which is far easier than the strat that Applesauce went for.
Yeah, Sentry has a lot of perks that make it an extremely safe run. So even if Applesauce is doing the faster route here, it won't mean anything if you end up losing time repeatedly. And Mole Knight goes down.
Very quick one cycle, pretty easy to one cycle is in this game as a speed game.
Yeah, both routes make pretty good work of Mole Knight, but he definitely has a lot easier of a time with the Sentry. Applesauce opting for some interesting auto-scroller swag.
Purposely doing a bonk. Multiple bonks. And now Kenny is entering the second memory with Luan. So we will see if Luan decides to go fast or not. And he does decide to go fast.
Whoa, why did he just yeah, he kind of sped up at the end. I thought he wasn't going to be moving as quickly there. That was kind of weird.
So Kenny will be entering the Shield Knight fight very soon.
Slime Samurais can be extremely irritating to deal with.
Applesauce is coming up on the second auto-scroller of Tinker Knight stage, and he's opting for the checkpoint. Very smart move.
He did bait the Silver Duck Knight appropriately, but yeah, he did have to double back to grab the checkpoint. Again, Tinker deals so much damage, it's important that Applesauce doesn't take unnecessary hits. Kenny having a little bit of a hard time with Shield Knight.
It is a very tough fight for the reasons that we stated previously. You cannot hit Shield Knight from the front when she has her shield, but you do have the Caltrops to help you.
He just needs one more hit. She just fell straight on the Caltrop.
And now Luwan's dead.
I thought he was just a friendly hobo.
Those two are not mutually exclusive. And Applesauce now entering the Tinker Knight fight.
As far as money goes, Applesauce doesn't really need anymore, so he's pretty safe to just carry on. Good use of Bounding Soul here on this Tinker fight. Yo, lots of lucky bounces. Very good stuff. Nice. Good Tinker 1.
Luck, or was it planned?
I've tried many times, and you just, like, if your positioning is just right, that's when you get those bounces.
He's not even using Judgment Rush for this Tinker kill, going for the more optimal Tinker kill, but he did get stuck there a little bit, and he fell down there.
This could be a problem if he can't get back up. Yeah, he's gonna have to wait for something. Don't fall down.
Out of darkness.
Ooh. Okay, he's back up. Applesauce survived.
And Kenny now entering close to the first pot cycle of Explodatorium. I believe he did make it.
Yeah, he did get on the good cycle for the sentry route. Those plague rats are extremely annoying. They like to hop as you approach them, and they deal full heart of damage when they explode.
It's very hard to not get hit by them, especially going through by just slashing through them, which most people do. They just allow themselves to take the hit. And now we see Baz on Applesauce's side.
Just breaking the window.
Bye, Baz. You can't be in the order today.
Heading into Pride War.
Damage boost. And now he will be entering the Alchemister fight, which will be significantly easier for him because he has the Skeletal Sentry.
He should absolutely destroy the Alchemister with the Sentry helping him out.
Ooh, he got the one cycle before the transformation.
So Applesauce is coming up on our favorite mall cop. Some of the security guards in Pridemore are extremely difficult to bypass, and Paul Blart does not like to let visitors by. Ooh, he does get by. Very nice.
That was a slick strat. Sometimes I see people, including myself, go for a Judgment Rush there, which is far safer, but also slower. He does get the damage
Uh-huh.
boost on the lava to skip needing to use the books.
Applesauce had to take a lot of damage to do that. Oh man. Meanwhile, Kenny is coming up on Plague Knight, and Skeletal Sentry is going to do some serious work on Plague Knight. This is another reason why runners are encouraged to look to Skeletal Sentry when picking up this game. Sentry just does so much damage to Plague Knight, it prevents him from doing any of his shenanigans.
Kenny opting to kind of stay in the corner instead of pursuing Plague Knight, which we don't know how much faster or slower that was.
Ooh, Applesauce does get the Bounding Soul shot to activate the book.
Let's see, can he pull off quickest books?
Nobody does quickest books, it's a curse strat. He did get the good old quick books. And Kenny buying his last darkness upgrade, so Kenny stands at 5. Applesauce will keep 4 for the rest of the run. King Knight is one of the fights that's actually not faster with Bounding Soul. It's extremely difficult to get a good kill because of King Knight's random movements. Ooh, this wasn't bad at all, though. A lot of those shots reflected in the pit that King Knight fell into.
Yeah, he got a very interesting reflect in that middle pit there with the 2 pillars that are up and the one that's slightly lower.
Kenny doing the stranded ship. This is where you would normally see rail mail for the first time, or the grinding. This stage is extremely mana intense, so both runners are basically going to be on empty before they get to the end. If they're not careful, then they won't be able to do some of the more time-saving tricks.
I believe Applesauce will be entering the same stage, yes he is, but reminder that Kenny is not ahead. Kenny still has to do King Knight stage because he is doing the different route.
Yeah, right now the 2 routes are at about a minute of difference optimally. Nice, Kenny going for the good old-fashioned sentry detonate to hit that switch. Having a bit of a struggle here, I don't blame him.
This room's harder than it looks.
Yeah, all these rails only go in one direction, so you actually have to hit these switches to get around. Ooh, and he does get the over-the-back throw!
Very
Toss.
fancy looking strat with the Skeletal Sentry detonation. We will be seeing some similar strats with Applesauce's Bounding Soul, I assume.
Yep, Applesauce doing... Ooh, he kind of missed with his shot there. Oh no!
Took some unnecessary damage as well, but that's okay, he has plenty of health. Applesauce struggling in the same way Kenny did, hitting the rail and going backwards accidentally. And now Kenny is coming up on the long grind room.
Applesauce made a good shot there. He's a little low on mana though, so if he doesn't do something, he's gonna have to adjust here with his Judgment Rushes.
Ooh, barely enough mana to make it for that extra Judgment Rush. If he didn't have enough mana there, he would have had to do an entire extra room.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the mana for this Judgment Rush, so he's going to have to ride these rails back and forth. And meanwhile, Kenny is now fighting Polar Knight, who's actually kind of an easy boss, especially because both of them have their strongest weapons now. Yeah, Polar Knight just exploded over on the right screen. Applesauce coming up on Polar Knight. He's going to have a little bit of a harder time with Polar Knight. He has to juggle his basketballs well, and he'll actually have to chase him down.
Again, Applesauce is technically ahead, I believe, because he's entering his last boss fight, but Kenny still has to do the King Knight fight.
Yeah, Kenny does still have to do Pride more. Good juggle. And very good. Oh! Ooh, he got him before he got away. Good stuff.
So we will be seeing a lot more Judgment Rush skips from Kenny in his Pridemore run because he does have more mana to use Judgment Rush with.
Will Kenny get the... No, he will not. No. Yeah, skipping past that first lava pot cycle is extremely difficult.
He does have 2 extra health upgrades though, so it is not much of a worry for him. And Applesauce seeing Black Knight for the second time in the run, but he doesn't have to fight him until the end of the next stage.
Yo, spoilers. Yo, Dolphy's back. Okay, so now after completing all the night stages, you unlock the final 2 stages, starting with the Tower of Fate entrance. The entrance slash ascent, because there's only 2 tower stages for Specter Knight. Extremely difficult stage where you're going to see... Ooh, wow, there was an interesting dash attack there. You're going to see a lot of the stage elements all thrown at Spectre at once. And there's a couple spots where he could easily die if he's not careful.
Yeah, Tower 1 is a very challenging stage. I know many runners have lost entire runs that were on world record pace to this stage.
God help me.
This is still very much anyone's race.
So now entering the dreaded Crusher section. It's not too difficult to keep up with on the 80% route. Some of the other routes struggle a little bit more, but you can die and you can fall down pretty easily. The death plane for these pillars as they go off screen is extremely high. Spectre can easily just fall to his death out of nowhere. Okay, Applesauce is fine.
Kenny is in the big books room now, opting to go for a slightly slower but safer strat, waiting for most of the pod cycles.
Good stuff, Applesauce. Let's see how he gets to the slam block room.
That was scary. I thought he was about to hit those spikes.
And Applesauce is now in the final Bertha room while Kenny deals with King Knight. Let's see that sentry do some work.
Ooh, Applesauce bouncing off of Bertha instead of using the blue lantern to get up to the next section. Very risky.
Had a bit of a hard time with King Knight there, but not to worry. He's now about to enter the tower. Applesauce did a great job on Tower 1.
Applesauce with some more bonk swag. Purposely bonking his head into the wall.
It'll be his last chance to kind of take a breather. Black Knight is the most dreaded fight out of all the encounters Spectre has to deal with.
Yeah, even more so than the final boss. Black Knight is very, very challenging, especially in a speedrun scenario, because he can actually waste a ton of time by flying up where you cannot hit him. So you either have to knock him off and fight him on the ground, or fight him in the air, which is quite risky.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Applesauce actually can do the aerial kill, but we'll see if he goes for it, if he just sticks to the grounded battle.
Kenny now at the beginning of Tower 1. So Applesauce is a bit ahead, but he can lose some time to Black Knight. Let's see how he deals with him.
Ooh, he is going for the area. Oh! You have to hit Black Knight in very specific spots to make sure he doesn't fall off if you're going for the aerial battle. He'll also have to damage boost appropriately just to keep up in the air. Wow, he managed to dodge all of that magnetic rubble. Okay, he fell down. Still, this is not bad. He's almost done here.
That was an absolutely amazing Black Knight fight. Now he's going on for some Bounding Souls on the ground to finish him off.
Now, once Black Knight has half a health left, he's going to immediately jump back up onto Terrapin. Nice shot.
He tried to escape there, and if Applesauce had let him get away, he would have wasted a ton of time, but he did not let him get away.
So Kenny making his way through the last of the Crusher section here. Good stuff, good stuff. Meanwhile, Applesauce, and this is another benefit to the Bounding Soul route, is just heading straight over to the second tower stage. This is just a boss rush with a small climb, and then the final two bosses. But Kenny is going to more than likely have to pick up an extra armor to deal good damage to the last two bosses.
Yeah, Applesauce opting to not buy the charge armor because the Bounding Soul route usually does not need the charge armor that allows you to deal a stronger hit by charging your sight. But the Skeletal Sentry route typically does need it because the Skeletal Sentry doesn't actually help with the Enchantress fight or the Reese fight pretty much at all. You can get some extra hits with the Skeletal Sentry blasts if you're lucky.
Applesauce did a good job setting up in the tile block room so that he wouldn't have to do some dangerous and sketchy looking jumps, and he's just riding the final couple elevators here. Now, Enchantress is a particularly dangerous boss fight. She deals a full heart of damage with all of her dives. Basically, there's only one thing, Floor Fire, that will deal half a heart of damage on this entire fight. And if Applesauce does go for the riskier strat, either grabbing the checkpoint, very good, I don't blame him, he'll actually be diving under the floor to try and finish off Enchantress. We'll see how he gets these basketball shots here. Ooh, he did not actually get Enchantress to go to the corner immediately.
All three of those Bounding Souls did hit her, though, for some good damage. But he is going for a bit of a slower strat, which I don't blame him. He is...
Is he...
ahead.
I don't think he's trying to... I think he is, yeah. He's going to take a suicide because he doesn't want to deal with the rest of this fight, and I don't blame him. Not the fastest way to start that over, but... Enchantress has a lot of crazy patterns, and if you're not experienced with dealing with the Enchantress in all of her different forms, then it can be a very dangerous fight to try and come up with strats on your own. Okay, he did much better that time. Yeah, he could even chase her underground. Will he? No, he's gonna play it safe and wait for her to come back up.
Yeah, if you're not absolutely confident in attacking the Enchantress below the stage, she can destroy runs like that. But he did get a good kill above the stage.
Kenny is dealing with Black Knight on the ground here. Black Knight is extremely annoying when fought on the ground. He dodges every 3 swings, and he can dodge at will. He can also choose to do shovel drops.
He didn't use the Skeletal Sentry, though, on the ground, which was kind of odd. He has plenty of mana.
Ooh, nice good dribble on Applesauce there. This is a great reason why Bounding Soul saves time here. Getting 2 constant reflect shots on very nice. One more hit
kill on Black Knight with Kenny.
Okay, this is the final pass here for Nightmare Reeves on Applesauce. Time is coming up soon. Oh no! Applesauce. Oh no!
Oh no!
Okay, if Applesauce can recover quickly, he still has this. Kenny still has to make it all the way up here. He does have the charge armor on, and like Pete was saying, you can hold down your attack button to charge up a full damage attack. It will provide a very similar benefit to using the Bounding Soul throughout the encounter. And that's because, unfortunately, the Skeletal Sentry just can't be thrown at angles where it would deal damage to Nightmare Reeves. And because of the fact that Enchantress is basically always in the air, it's pretty difficult to get Skeletal Sentry shots to hit her up there as well.
This race is getting closer and closer by the second, but it's looking like Applesauce is going to get the kill on Reeves before Kenny can.
He just has to not beef it. Come on, boy.
One more hit.
Oh, man! Ooh,
and that is
stuff.
time.
What a heart attack that was. Getting hit on those last sets of lantern dashes can be extremely unsettling.
So the race will wind up going to Applesauce, but we will see the Enchantress fight on Kenny's side, see how he deals with this.
Kenny did not get
the Sentry.
Kenny did not get the Enchantress to do quick dives. He missed out on a little bit of damage, but he's going to use the Detonate to do some extra damage on Enchantress, get her to come back from under the floor quickly. Just a little bit more to go.
Kenny just has to hit the Enchantress one more time with this charge.
Go.
And now we're fighting Reese.
This race was really, really close. I want to see how Kenny handles Nightmare Reese.
Applesauce opting to show the entire ending cutscene with all of the text and everything instead of skipping it.
Meanwhile, Kenny is making good use of the Charge Slash, which applies its damage to your dash attacks as well, not just grinding and swinging your scythe. However, preferably you do want to stay on rails and swing your scythe at Reese. Bouncing off of Reese takes a very long time. So Nightmare Reese is actually subject to a lot of RNG because all of these rails will be different every single time.
It's usually best to stay on the top rail to be safest, because if you're on the bottom rail, you can easily fall off and die.
So now Kenny is coming up on time. He just has to deal another heart and a half. Ooh, and he actually got unlucky at the very end there. He did not get that small incline that would lead up to Reese's face. He made a good adjustment by leaning back there just so he could tell what kind of rail he was getting.
And that is the race. It will go to Applesauce, but we saw some very skilled play from both players.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. Both of them did a great job. Not bad at all. Only had one death from each of them, I think.
I believe Applesauce's only death was to the Enchantress that he purposely did because he didn't want to deal with her on low health.
Well, he did also have that the death on Nightmare Reese. So one on purpose and one final flop. But yeah, both did very good stuff.
Applesauce coming within, I believe, 2 minutes of his PB, which is pretty good in a race scenario where he had to take slower safety strats.
So thank you guys for watching. This was the first match for the Any Percent tournament, and another match will actually be happening in about an hour and a half at midnight Eastern.
That will be at midnight Eastern, in case you didn't hear Mumu say it. So tune in for that race, which I believe Mumu will definitely be commentating, and I will be commentating as well.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Hope you'll be around for the next one. This is Mumu Akai signing out.
And this is Pika Pete signing out.